He's a renowned street artist known for his politically charged work, and he has several pieces in Palestine directly addressing the Palestinian struggle. He's Banksy. Banksy painted this kitten mural on a remaining wall of the al-Shambari family home in Gaza. This home was destroyed 10 years ago during the Israeli bombardment of Gaza in 2014. This Banksy mural in Gaza shows children using an Israeli army watchtower as a swing ride. And this Banksy mural, painted on the door of a home destroyed by the Israeli military in 2014, depicts a bent figure wearing a headscarf. Banksy also has several murals in the West Bank, which had previously earned him the moniker West Banksy. This Banksy mural in the West Bank is called the Flower Thrower, and it's been there since 2003. Armored Dove of Peace is painted on the apartheid wall. Banksy also created this mural on the apartheid wall called Girl Frisking Soldier, subverting the usual relationship between Israeli forces and Palestinian children. And in 2015, Banksy wrote this on the West Bank wall: "If we wash our hands of the conflict between the powerful and the powerless, we side with the powerful. We don't remain neutral." You can also find this Banksy mural and this mural showing an Israeli soldier asking even a donkey for its identity card in the West Bank area of Palestine. This Banksy piece is on top of the entrance to the Aida refugee camp. It's a key, which symbolizes the keys many of these refugees still have to the original homes they or their parents or grandparents lost to theft by Zionist settlers. In 2015, Banksy released a sarcastic tourism video about Gaza, highlighting the restrictions imposed on its residents by the Israeli military. In part of the video, it says the locals like it so much they never leave, and because they're not allowed to, cutting to scenes of the Israeli military. Additionally, Banksy established the Waldorf Hotel in Bethlehem in 2017, near the apartheid wall. It serves as a hotel and a political statement against the wall. This is the view from the presidential suite, and the artwork inside shows an Israeli soldier and a Palestinian protester having a pillow fight, a reenactment of the 1917 signing of the Balfour Declaration, when Britain publicly pledged to colonize Palestine and provide a, quote, national home for the Jewish people there. This painting showing Jesus with the target on his head, and more. Banksy's work sheds light on the harsh realities faced by Palestinians living under occupation, including the challenges of accessing basic necessities, especially with areas like Rafah under attack. Roughly 3/4 of Gaza's 2.3 million people have fled into Rafah, the farthest south they can go before the Egyptian border. At this stage in Israel's bombardment of Gaza, Israeli forces have promised a ground invasion of Rafah. And although just today the UN Security Council passed a resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire, Israeli forces are not expected to comply. So if you're looking for artists who've been long-standing supporters of the Palestinian people,
Hi, I'm a medical student, and unfortunately, unauthorized pelvic exams are still legal in a lot of states. The College of Law in Illinois has an entire initiative dedicated to introducing legislation that would ban unauthorized pelvic exams. This is an extremely unethical practice where multiple medical students will perform unauthorized pelvic exams on patients while they are under anesthesia. As of February 16th, 2023, the blue and green states are where unauthorized pelvic exams are banned. The yellow is where bills are currently pending, and all of the states in white are where it is currently legal to perform unauthorized pelvic exams on patients.
You're right. My face was similar when I found out that Israeli soldiers had stormed a Shifa hospital in Gaza, and they raped women inside, and they murdered 140 people, including children. And then they fed many of the Palestinian remains to Israeli soldiers' dogs. My face was similar when I found out that they had said to the people inside who were injured and seeking shelter that they can go to the south, and they told them to leave the hospital, and then they started killing them. It was the same when I saw one of a man's legs entirely in a cast. He was told that he could leave a Shifa hospital safely. He left the hospital, and then the soldiers ran over him with a tank. And the image is just two severed legs in the midst of a tank's tracks. It was the same when I saw the Palestinian men, including children, seeing the children were stripped to their underwear. Some of them were executed and some of them were let go. And it was the same when I found out that there was a pregnant woman in a Shifa hospital. She was with her child and her husband. And they told the soldiers that she was pregnant. And the soldiers repeatedly kicked her in the stomach. And then they raped her. And they made her child and her husband and every single man in the room watch. And told them that if they closed their eyes, they would shoot them. So yes, I think you're right. Every woman in the world, any person in the world who has a heart, probably had a similar face. One of like shock and horror and disgust and rage. And so much pain.
But just know, you never met somebody like me before, though.
These are disabled protesters crawling up the Capitol steps to demand that Congress pass legislation to protect disabled people from discrimination. That's right, 34 years ago this week was the infamous Capitol crawl, a critical event that led to the ADA being signed into law. In case you don't know or think it's a streamer, the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, is the most important piece of disability legislation in US history. It's basically a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination against disabled people. You cannot be discriminated against on the basis of your disability. Well, you can, but now you can sue or file a complaint when it happens, which it does a lot. It was signed into law on July 26, 1990 by President George H.W. Bush. Before the law got signed, it was stuck in Congress for months. But really, the disability community had been waiting for something like this for much, much longer. So on March 12, 1990, over 1,000 protesters took to the National Mall, and a lot of disabled protesters got out of their wheelchairs or set aside their crutches or walkers and physically crawled up the Capitol steps, 83 steps to the Capitol. Beyond a literal demand for the ADA to be passed, it was also such a brilliant symbolic act that really forced people to reckon with the ways in which disabled people are structurally and systemically shut out of public life, even at the top. And it worked. 4 months later, the ADA was law, all because disabled people said enough. And one of those people, the superstar of the demonstration, was Jennifer Keelan Chaffins, an 8-year-old activist with cerebral palsy from Colorado. Here's a clip of Jennifer on that day.
Take your time, Jennifer. You want to take a break? I'll take all night if I have to. All right.
Yeah, Jennifer. What you say, Jennifer?
I'll take all night if I have to.
Such an icon. I just love this moment in history so much. It gives me such pride to know that everything I have as a disabled woman is thanks to the tireless work of the organizers and activists who came before me. But, and even though I know the answer to this question, I have to ask it, why didn't I learn about this in school? Did you? Let me know, and I hope you learned something.
Well, obviously it has grape in it. It's dark romance. If you can't take it, don't read it. It's not for sensitive people. I'm in your walls.
Some of you have seriously lost the plot on the Quiet on the Set documentary. Like, clearly the point of that documentary went so over your head that you are now engaging in harmful behavior. Sorry if this makes people feel bad, but like, stick with me for a second. I need you to think about this, okay? Drake Bell was brave enough as a child to come forward about his abuse. He got a recorded confession, which is really rare. He went to trial, which is really rare. And his abuser got convicted, which is really rare. And even with all that evidence and proof on his side, he waited 20 years to say something. And the point of the documentary isn't that this kind of abuse is rare or a one-off. It's that it's common, that kids are put into vulnerable situations, and this is common. Even if they're not actively abused, they are seriously exploited to the point of trauma. So when you go to other Nickelodeon stars like Miranda Cosgrove or Josh Peck, Victoria Justice, and you go on their posts and you comment, why aren't you saying anything about the documentary? Why aren't you supporting Drake Bell? What's wrong with you? You are literally attacking what could be other victims, literal children who were bullied into signing NDAs. You have no idea why they're not talking, and they don't owe you anything. They were the victims. If you guys want to go post on like the social media of the people who wrote those letters as adults, then be my guest. But I don't know who you guys think you are, that you think child stars, the ones who have gone through this, who the documentary is about, that you can harass them. They have gone through hell and they do not owe you anything.
Mom brought me into the world. Sister taught me how to girl. Best friend coached me how to text. The boy toy that I'm dating next. Girls who help show me the way. They're why I'm in it, girl, today.
I'm kind of bored of not being very controversial lately, so here's a bunch of celebrities I don't like. Chris Brown, because he attempted to murder a woman. I feel like people really gloss over what he did to Rihanna this night. This is attempted murder. It is certainly not a series of events you perform if you don't intend to kill somebody. Little Dicky, because he made this terrible song with Chris Brown where he proclaims that he is less cool and worse of a person than Chris Brown, basically. Guess I'll take his word for it. Shit, we can also throw Ed Sheeran in here. He also appeared in this video to proudly proclaim he is a worse and less cool person than an attempted murderer and routine woman beater. Congratulations. She just gives me nothing. Bores me to tears. George Lopez, I don't know if a lot of people know this about him, but he once cheated on his wife who gave him a kidney. A kidney! He was dying, and this woman gave him an extension on his lifespan, and he utilized it to cheat on her. Joe Jonas, believe it or not because of what he's doing to his current wife, not because of what he did to Taylor Swift, but what he did to this girl. Joe Jonas attempted to pick up a 13-year-old Gigi Hadid at a red carpet event when he was 19. Not only that, he couldn't take the L, he came back and dated her later. Shit, while we're talking about predators, Tyga for dating a teenage girl when he was in his mid-20s. Tyga met this girl when she was 14 and he was 22. He was about the same age as I am today, and she was as old as I was about 8 years ago. Not only that, he then proceeded to make a song where he brags about statutorily raping her and released it on her 18th birthday. Shit, we can throw Kanye West in this mix too, not just because of everything he's ever done, but because he co-wrote and produced that song, as well as the fact that he said Tyga was smart for getting it in early. You know what? No, throw the whole fucking Kardashian clan in here. I changed my mind. Kendall's the one I like the most. Cause why the fuck were y'all grown-ass adults not doing anything to intervene with this? Y'all are her grown-ass sister. Y'all are her parents. And y'all were letting a 15-year-old girl date a grown-ass man. That's how we're doing it around here? Avril Lavigne? Just casually hooking up with an old child predator? You traded out the skater boy for the preteen dater boy? This is what we're about now? Oh, and don't even get me started on you, bitch. I'm sorry, no, Caitlyn Jenner needs her ass beat. How are you a trans woman and you hate other trans women for being trans women? 2 + 2 does not equal 5. How are you so against trans women in women's sports, but you were up on this stage accepting the award for Woman of the Year from ESPN? You mean to tell me you were comfortable taking the woman's top honor from the most coveted sports organization in the entire world, yet you have a problem with little Sally Mae running on her high school track team? You mean to tell me you have the audacity to get up on Fox News every night talking about how all other trans women and drag queens are child predators? Meanwhile, you had a whole fucking grown-ass man running up in your crib and statutorily raping your teenage daughter, and you did fucking nothing to stop it. For what? TV ratings? You're disgusting, you're deranged, and you don't deserve a lick of success or happiness you've ever had in this life. I hope you fucking hear that, you nasty, low-down fucking bitch. Hey there, LAPD. I'm sorry, were you too busy murdering people for minor drug possession to go knock on the fucking Kardashian mansion and ask why a grown-ass man is parading around town with your 15-year-old daughter? You know what? Fuck it. Society as a whole. Y'all just let this happen? These are the celebrities, the powerful people you prop up as fucking representation of your entire race? Nope, we're just gonna turn a blind eye to all that shit. Just keep streaming their songs, keep watching their shows, buying their shit. Jesus, just press the fucking doomsday button. I'm so fucking serious. I don't want to be... I'm gonna see that fucking red splotch in the sky one day, and I'm gonna be like, about goddamn time. Yeah, I'm done. I'm out of here. Bye.
Desert eye trend where an influencer does Arabian style eye makeup and then puts on a hijab at the end is like going viral right now. I don't want to be one of those leftist content creators that just constantly attacks other influencers, because I think most of the time that can be incredibly regressive. I think it's very interesting though when non-Middle Eastern content creators are doing this Arabian style makeup and they haven't said a word about what's happening in the Middle East. Arabian aesthetic is cute enough to make content about, but the minute they get the Watermelon Project on them, where they get asked to speak about what's happening in the Middle East, they freeze. This is like the third video of the desert eyes that I've come across, which is why I've decided to actually say something about it. I want people to celebrate Middle Eastern people. I've been dreaming of seeing that ever since I was a kid. I'm not necessarily against it, but I think it's interesting that Middle Eastern aesthetic is only used when it's convenient, and when those hard conversations start to come up, everyone starts running in different directions. I've thought long and hard about making this video, but maybe I'm reaching. I don't know. I would love to hear your input.
Genocide!
tea is that Jesus wouldn't even like you. You're not overthrowing no governments. You're not friends with no harlots. You're not over here condemning injustice wherever you see it. He wouldn't even
Can you imagine if I had been born in Australia and rocked up to teach napkin manners?
How's that for your man? This guy goes on to diss a bunch of indigenous place names in Australia. I'm gonna list some dumb shit I found in English. Starting off strong, we got Lecoq, Royal Wooten Basset, Undel, Walton on the Nay. We got fucking I. Yes, I was born right between Spalding and Pinchbeck. We got Ashby de la Zouch. We got Congleton and Stoke-on-Trent. We got Mole, Pocklington, Wooler, Heppel. We got Knutsford, England. We got Shavington. I think my personal favorite here, Butt Green, Bickley Moss, Cuddington Heath, Burntwood. And then we got Bath and Come Down. Listen, if you're gonna diss a bunch of shit in indigenous languages from across the world, please look at what your own language has created, because this is funny as fuck, man.
A 12-year-old was just found dead and half naked at a wilderness therapy program after having been there for less than 24 hours. The unnamed boy arrived at Trails, Carolina the night of February 2nd. Trails staff said that the boy had a panic attack around midnight. Staff did not say whether any of them tried to help the boy through his panic attack. They allegedly checked on him at midnight, 3 a.m., 6 a.m., and then found him dead around 7:45 a.m. on February 3rd, 2024. When emergency personnel arrived, they found the boy lying down with his arms on his chest, his knees towards the sky, and naked from the waist down, with his underwear and his pants near his right shoulder. When emergency personnel asked Trails staff how the boy's pants and underwear ended up next to his shoulder, staff said that they did not know. The boy allegedly had frothing around his mouth and blood marks around his eyes and mouth, which investigators say could indicate poisoning or asphyxiation. Investigators have labeled the boy's death as suspicious and not natural, although there is an ongoing investigation. Investigators have also said that Trails Carolina has not been completely cooperative with their efforts. Allegedly, staff at Trails Carolina refused to let investigators interview or even see the other children at Trails Carolina, nor were investigators allowed to know those children's names or ages.
California police shot and killed a 15-year-old child with autism named Ryan Gaynor. Ryan was having an episode and he was holding a garden tool, so his family got afraid and they called the police to calm him down or to take him away to defuse the situation. But instead, the California police arrived and they shot that 15-year-old boy to death in front of his entire family. They shot him 3 times because they said he was approaching them with this tool in his hand, but they're now refusing to release the entire body cam footage. You probably don't know this or haven't had the opportunity to stop and think about this, but Black people who are neurodivergent and have disabilities are at an even greater risk of violence from the police. It is, however, something I and my family have given a lot of thought to because both of my twin brothers have autism. I came to America in 2008 and eventually all of my sisters came too, but my brothers are still in Bahamas because we were just too afraid of what would happen to them in America if they ever had an episode or had any reason to be in contact with the police. There have been so many cases over the years to really exacerbate that fear, but I think the one that really struck fear in our heart was back in 2016. It was in Florida. There was an autistic Black man who had wandered off from the facility that was caring for him, and he was sitting in the middle of the street with a toy truck. And the Florida police surrounded him. And so his Black therapist came outside with his hands up, went to the middle of the street with his hands in the air and said he is not armed. He has a toy truck. He's not going to shoot or harm anybody. And the police shot the therapist. And all that happened to the officer was that he was placed on administrative leave. These incidents illustrate why police should not be who responds to mental health crises and why police should not be the only resource people feel like they can call when their family or their loved ones are having mental health crises. It's also why we in general just need to think more about people with disabilities and expanding disability rights to avoid incidents like this.